Okay, so I'm not a makeup artist, but I'm gonna try to do my makeup kind of like butterfly inspired-esque. I found this really cool picture on Pinterest. And I really like the oranges and the yellows. I'm not gonna do like the butterflies on my face because I feel like that might be a little tacky, and plus I'm gonna wear a butterfly crown that I made. So that'd be really exciting. And then yeah, this is what I'm wearing. It's a jumpsuit. It's a vintage 70s jumpsuit, and this pattern already is pretty loud, so I'm not gonna like make myself look like a butterfly, but I want to have like butterfly-esque vibes for tonight, mostly because my favorite Kacey Musgraves song is Butterflies. So I'm gonna try. So don't know how long this video is gonna be, and I might speed up some parts, might not. We'll just see how it goes. So this is my second attempt at a video. So I opted for a voiceover just because this video is already so long. So basically what I'm doing here is I took my Makeup Forever HD foundation stick and applied it on my face, and I'm using a damp beauty blender to blend it out. It's pretty much my favorite method for applying foundation. And I'm just kind of blabbing on about how I don't pile too much on at first, and then I just kind of go in and do a few spots. And I'm just blending out, blend, 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 blend. And I'm talking about how I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking at the mirror instead of the camera, and then when I talk to the camera, I'm looking at the screen. Delayed response much. Now I'm taking my NARS concealer. I got this for my wedding day, and it's in the shade Vanilla, and it's actually a little too light for me, and sometimes it can make me look pretty ghostly. And what I'm telling you here is that you have to be really quick with blending this stuff out, because it can dry really fast and it's hard to blend out. So I'm doing one eye at a time. Making sure that I blend it out right away, because like I said, it can be kind of like drying, and it's really hard to blend out once it's kind of set. Then I'm just doing the center of my face, around my nose. Recently I've been getting a lot of redness there, so I've applied it there, making sure I blend out really fast. And making sure I get my smile lines, so it's kind of where my makeup starts to show that it's wearing off. Then I'm going in with my Airspun powder. This has literally been my most favorite powder ever. I got it from like Walmart like 5 years ago, no joke. It's still amazing. I use it every time I do my makeup, and I'm just setting underneath my eyes. I'm not baking or anything, because I don't want it to be like super heavy. I would bake if I was going to do maybe a photo shoot, but I'm just lightly setting around underneath my eyes and also on my eyelids. That way the blend out is better with my eyeshadow. I'm pretty much just setting everywhere that I put the concealer. Making sure I get in my smile lines, because like I said, that's where I crease really easily. Ain't nobody got time for that. And I guess the reason why this video was so long is because I pretty much talked the entire time. It was literally almost an hour long. So I'm just using my big fluffy Real Techniques, wow, that was a tongue twister, Real Techniques brush, and just lightly powdering my face all over. And I like to do this before doing any kind of contour, because I feel like it makes the contour go on smoother. And making weird faces at the camera. So at this point I was looking for my usual contour brush, which I couldn't find, so I'm using this oval brush. It's an off-brand oval brush. I think I got it at maybe Ross or Marshall's several years ago, but I really like it. It's not my go-to, but I'm using it for this. And I use my Hoola bronzer in light. Again, I got that for my wedding day, and I like it. It's a little warm for me, even the light, but it really helps define the contour. So that's what I'm going in right underneath my cheekbones and kind of blending up on my temples, and then I will do my forehead. I don't think I have a particularly large forehead, but I do like the way it looks when I do contour the edges of my forehead. And I lightly went over my nose, nothing super defined, just really diffused. And I go underneath my jawline because I personally feel like I do not have a jawline. I'm all neck, and this kind of helps define it. And I make sure I blend it all the way down my neck so there's no harsh lines. I'm terrified of that. So I'm using my NYX palette. It's this bright colored one. I don't remember the name, and unfortunately I can't read it on the video, but it is really amazing. It's pretty pigmented actually, and I just love the bright colors. They also have one that has more neutral tones too. So I believe I'm looking for a fluffy blending brush. I couldn't find my usual MAC blending brush, so I actually found my other one. I believe it's from Crown. And to first start off my eyes, I'm going in with my bronzer, my other bronzer from the Physicians Formula. It's the coconut one. There's that brush I was talking about. It's like a royal something. Again, I think I got it in a BoxyCharm. But yeah, I'm just defining my crease with the other bronzer just to help things blend better. And I'm going in with the brightest yellow shade. Just windshield wiper movements with my blending brush, just blending that out as a good base. Starting lighter and then building the colors up. I did have to pack this on pretty heavily and go over it several times to make that yellow pop. I was actually pretty surprised. It was really pigmented on my brush, but as soon as I went to put it on my eye, I noticed that I had to do several layers. So I went in pretty heavy-handed, but it diffused really nicely. And there's a lot of blending on here. I blend a lot, which is probably another reason why the video was so long. And I'm going in with this darker yellow. It's a little bit of an orange undertone. I thought that would make it look more orangey, but it actually turned a little bit more mustard color. So you'll see next I go in with more of the red shades to mix the yellow and the reddish colors. That gave me a pretty decent orange. But I like this for defining the crease and getting it a little bit darker, having that gradient from yellow to orange. And I'm using the same brush. See, here I go in with they're kind of orangey, but they're a little bit more on the pink sides. They had some red in it, and I figured I'll mix that with the yellow to give me a good orange, and I actually was really pleased with how that turned out. And I packed that on pretty generously just to make sure I had the right effect. And I'm going in with a different brush, kind of just going back over with that orangey yellow shade just to blend everything together. And I was just using that picture from Pinterest in the beginning as a little bit of a reference point because clearly they used higher end products than I have. So the results came out differently. But I, in the end, really loved this look. And I'm really making sure I get the outer edges as well as the inner corners because I wanted to have kind of a halo effect on the eyelid. So here I'm talking about going in with a more pinky red shade for the eyelid, and I'm using a flat packing brush. So I started off with the lighter colors first, and I noticed nothing was really kind of showing up too vividly. So then I actually ended up mixing two of the shades in the palette, which gave me a pretty nice pop. So it's looking a little bit more colorful. But I think this is when I decided I'm going to go in with the darker colors right here. And I really liked how that looked on the lid. So I'm trying to mainly focus that on the center and blending it slightly upward into the crease, but then I go and I diffuse it with a little bit more of that yellow. So I'm going in with even darker colors now, the darker of the two reds, and blending it out. That time I didn't have any product on my brush, but I just wanted to make sure it had a nice diffuse and everything blended together. Lots of blending. So at that point, I really liked how the lids were looking, so I went underneath and I used the same colors. I started with the yellow on a flat brush, and usually the smallest brush that I have helps get underneath my lash line. So I'm starting off with that yellow and blending that out underneath. And I noticed it started to make me look a little jaundicey. Yes, that's a word, jaundicey. And then I go in with the darker yellow and then the pinks to make it more orange. And then I do a center dot of that darker red in the center. Blending, blending, blending. I use a smaller flat brush as well. Now I think I'm going in with that more orangey shade. And just diffusing it out. And I'm going in with that pop of red, or that pinky red color. And I think I went on a little heavy-handed because it looked kind of shocking at first, almost like I was dead. So then I go in with a little bit more orange and I diffuse it out, and I actually really loved how that looked. Just doing last minute touches and blending. So at that point, I kind of noticed I was looking a little ghostly. And I actually do my eyeliner, and this is my favorite eyeliner. Again, I got it in a BoxyCharm. It's a sample size. I think as soon as this one runs out, I'm going to get the full size one, but it is the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner, and I absolutely love it. And I am doing a slight wing on my eyes. And this side of my face, I can do a wing pretty simple and quickly, but you'll notice it's the other side I have a little bit of trouble with. And I always think it's maybe the angle. I'm right-handed. You can tell I'm kind of struggling with the angle there. And do a pretty decent wing, actually. I usually get very close to a camera when close to the mirror when I'm doing my eyeliner. So this was really new for me. and I had to end up bringing the mirror closer to me so I could get a good view on my eyeliner. I usually don't like to do the eye stretching method just because I feel like pulling on your eyes is pretty damaging. So I've learned how to just kind of freehand it on there. And I kind of messed up that side. I chili peppered it. I don't know if that's a technical term, but it's kind of when you make the wing rounded. So I went in and I fixed that and sharpened it. And right then my husband was telling me that I had to be aware that work was starting soon. So I'm looking for my mascara. Oh, nope, I lied. Actually, I'm going in. This palette was the saving grace of this eye look. It is the McGrath Mother palette, and I used that to highlight my inner corners with this gold color as well as my brow bone. And then she has this really gorgeous purple shade. It almost looks like a purple oil slick. It's really beautiful, and I actually popped that on the center of my lid, and I thought that really saved the look. Like, it really made it pop and metallic, and I ended up really loving this so much more after I popped that on. This palette is really expensive, but if you have it in your budget or if you can save for it, it is honestly the best palette ever. And I found my mascara, and it's my holy grail. It's the L'Oréal. It's the one that comes in like a black gray tube with the gold lid. It's my all-time favorite. I've tried all kinds of mascaras, and I always go back to this one. And I'm putting a pretty generous coat on my eyes and making a weird mascara face. So back to me realizing how ghostly my face is, I went in with some bronzer on my oval brush, and I actually used the Physicians Formula bronzer because I like how the tone of that looks on my skin. It's not as warm reddish, it's more of a cool tone, so I went in with that one. I'm looking for my blush brush, say that 5 times fast, and I'm going in with the Cabana blush. It's in the darkest shade. I love it. And just popping that on my cheekbones. And actually later that night when I came home to get ready after work, I put a little bit of that Pat McGrath gold on my cheeks as a highlight, and it really is the best highlighter ever. And I'm using just a L'Oreal pinkish nude lipstick. I didn't want to go too bright since the eyes were so poppy. And here is the final look. I really hope that you guys like this video. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on this eye look, I'd be happy to do that. This was my first time making one of these, so it was trial and error, but I hope you like it.